You don't start things and not finish them. You don't quit. There's nothing that comes out of quitting besides knowing that you didn't finish. We finish everything. You start it, finish it. If you're going to do it to try to be the best. Not to be better than other people, but to be the best for you. You grind hard so you can play hard. The work you put in will pay off. It could be a year, it could be 30 years, but you keep grinding. Welcome to Big Reptile Talk. Welcome to the podcast. Before we get started, let's make sure we give some love to the sponsors. They are, of course, how we pay the bills. So please, if you keep animals, venom-proof cages, some of the best cages on the market, especially for venomous reptiles, keep your reptiles in style and keep them in safely. Venom-proof cages, check them out. Make sure you tell them Derek sent you. If you're on the market for a ball python, Ozzy Boyd's makes some of the best ball pythons in the market. He's a king in the hobby. So make sure you check him out. Go give him some love. And last but not least, I think that we forget this so much in this hobby. Ship your reptiles. You know, you need to focus on making amazing animals and let Ship Your Reptiles get your reptiles to you. Just an awesome company. They're one of the best in the business. Welcome. I'm excited. You know, when I started this podcast, I wanted to be a reptile podcast, but then I wanted to branch out. I wanted to branch out and go get ant keepers. I wanted to go get, elephant keepers. I wanted to get monitors. I wanted to get, just different people that are in the animal hobby that, if you have a life based on animals, I want to talk to you. So before we bring the guest in, let's go ahead and say what's up to some of the people in the chat. Fungus Queen Exotics, thank you so much for being here. Lafitte and ASMR, Sean Brooks, Joker King, Grim Exotics, Michaela's Farm, everybody that's showing up, I definitely appreciate you. Brown Projects, Big Mike in the building. Shout out to Mike's Monitors. I think I've seen Iron Dog in the building. Bosa Balls. Just so many people coming into the chat. So without further ado, I know. Without further ado, I'm going to show you a picture and we have a legend joining us. Now, when I tell you, the Tiger King was one of the biggest specials on Netflix. So I went and I wanted to bring, of course we have Joe Exotic, and then we have his right-hand man, John Rinke. I probably butchered his name. I apologize. I haven't come in and say that, but just a awesome guy. He was the manager of Joe Exotic's zoo. So let's bring him in and just pick his brain. How you doing today, Mr. John?
Hey, Derek, I'm doing great, man.
I'm excited to have you here. Now, I want to go ahead and jump right into it.
Okay. Well, let's get this straight. I'm not a legend by no means. I promise you.
I wanted to bring you in here. You ran Joe Exotic Zoo. So my question to you is, the Tiger King, why do you think it was as big as it was?
To be honest, I think the COVID's what made it so big. The internet, everybody was saying, hey, you got to watch this Tiger King, and it just spread. It spread like a virus, and everybody watched it. And I think that's what made it so big.
And look at this, everybody in the chat. What's up, John? Inquiline. John keeps it real.
I try to. I'm just a normal guy, man, and my face just got popular. We didn't make any money on that show, so it's not like we got rich. All we got was popularity.
Right. Now, my question to you is, you were, running Joe Exotic Zoo. I'm curious, what were you doing before you ran his zoo?
I was trying to figure out how to keep my life together. I had experienced a traumatic injury. Already had one foot cut off. Just trying to stay afloat. And I wasn't looking for it. We went on vacation, me and my family, and we seen this big billboard that says, come see the tigers. So we stopped to see the tigers, and hell, I just never left.
That is insane. We have a question in the chat. Mike's Monitor said, are you still doing big cats?
I am still doing big cats. I am well affiliated with big cats. I get to babysit them every winter. The springtime and the summer, I go and do my own thing. I have just normal jobs like regular people, but I have one organization that gives me the responsibility of babysitting their cats in the wintertime while they go do what they got to do.
Right. And my Animal House, thank you for that super chat so much. I appreciate you. Now I gotta ask. Now, how, this is iconic. How did you meet Joe Exotic?
We just stopped by and seen his zoo one day, and he was there. Normally, he was out on the road doing shows and stuff, and he was never there, but he was there that day. And I actually fell in love with a grizzly bear at their zoo, and his name was Ozzy. And I asked if there's anything I could do to help. And they said, well, let me let you talk to the owner. So Joe was there, and he talked to me. And he said our grizzly bear needed a water tank. So I went and bought him a water tank.
Oh, you did that for the zoo?
I did it for the zoo, yeah. I bought a water tank for the zoo because that bear needed a water tank. And I just kept coming back. I kept coming back on weekends. I'd bring my kids come back. We'd volunteer and help out. I'd bring them bleach. I didn't have a whole bunch of money, but I had resources to get stuff. And I brought bleach and stuff like that they needed for cleaning supplies. And weekends just turned into weeks and months and years, 14 years later,
Right. Now I gotta ask, and we're gonna talk about the zoo in a little bit, and I won't keep you long because I know you're on the road, you constantly traveling, doing stuff. Now, if you don't mind me asking, what does your personal animal collection look like?
Well, right now I have a Great Dane, an English Mastiff, and I recently just acquired a kangaroo.
A kangaroo?
Because everybody should have a kangaroo.
I love it. Fungus Queen, thank you so much for that super chat. Venom, I see you, man. Much love. Kara Shay, I see you. Much love. Wild Boy Dev, thank you so much for the super chat. Now, I want to have a little fun, a hot seat question. I don't know if you've heard this song, and if you haven't, I want you to go research it. Have you heard that song? And I know Joe Exotic follows him on Instagram. BFD the Pac-Man, Free Joe Exotic. Have you heard that song?
I've heard it.
What did you think of that song?
I kind of like the song. It's for years we listened to Joe's so-called music, and all the time, and it fits right in. I mean, it sounded great. It's got a good vibe to it, and got some facts in it.
I love it. Now,
Joe,
I know he did. I seen he followed him on Instagram, which was freaking. I thought that was so hilarious that he followed BFD the Pac-Man. Now, I want you to talk about this because you ran the zoo. So talk to me, like, what was it like for you a day at the zoo? Give me a rundown. A day at the zoo.
Well,
what was some of the stuff you did?
Every day was a different day. When you woke up the next day, it was going to be a totally different day than the day before. So much happens there. You wake up in the morning, the first thing I have to do is take care of babies. I got to feed babies and all that stuff. And then you go out on the zoo. You got to check all the cages, make sure all the animals are in their cages before you open the zoo and let the staff on. I had to babysit the staff. I had to make sure everything got fed. That was me. I did all that. Joe stayed in his office and did his Facebook work and all of his promoting and stuff. But now if I needed Joe, he would come out there and help me, but he didn't like to. If I could job.
Right. Now we know that it was nicknamed the GW Zoo, but I'm not familiar with it. Why was it? It was called the Greater Winewood Exotic Animal Park. Why'd they come up with that name?
Yeah, it's Greater Wynnewood. That's the town right there is Wynnewood, Oklahoma. When Carol got her judgment against Joe, she was going after the property and everything, and Joe kept it tied up in court by changing the name. As he kept the name changed, she'd have to reinstall lawsuits and go after another entity. And eventually, when he got arrested and went to jail, he couldn't fight it no more. So she ended up with the property. But that's why he kept changing the name.
That is hilarious. That's so petty, but hilarious.
Yeah, so he kept tied up.
That's hilarious. So you mean to tell me she tried to sue him, and every time she was about to sue him, he would change the name of the zoo, so she'd have to do something different.
Yep, she'd have to redo her lawsuit. Yeah,
I was wondering because I was like I like the name, but if I wanted to, I'd change it. I'd name it like the Tiger Den or the Lion Den.
Yeah, the GW stood for his brother Carol Wayne that got killed in a drunk driver accident. That's how it initially started, and then we just started changing names. It was the Carol Wayne Interactive Zoological Park, and then it came the the greater Winniewood part. It's changed names so many times. Joe just trying to keep it tied up.
I love it. I love it, man. Now, you ran the park, like I said, just so amazing. What was your favorite animal there? Who was your favorite animal?
Yeah, a lot of people know me. They know I had a lion named Bone Digger. Um, he was a pretty special lion to me. First of all, he was the first male lion that they'd had in a long time. And to have a male lion is real hard to do anyway. Most of them are all females. But I told Joe when we had a male lion, I wanted it to be mine. And he became mine. So we had a pretty special bond. I raised him with weenie dogs, and he grew up with weenie dogs. And
Right, right.
I know a lot of people are going to ask what happened to Bone Digger since the zoo's gone. Just to let you know, there's a certain man out there named Lowe that starved him to death just because he was mine.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's shitty. Now, working around these animals, I gotta ask, and if you never took one, I'm okay with that. But what was the worst bite you ever took?
I've been bit by a tiger. I've been bit by an anaconda. I've been bit by a black bear. I've been grabbed by a mountain lion. Um, probably the worst bite was the black bear.
So you done been bit by a bear, a lion, anaconda.
Yeah, yeah,
That is crazy.
yeah.
I'm jealous, man. You living an insane life now. Being on this zoo. I hate to call it a zoo because to me it was so much more than that. But being there, what was it like? Joe was a entertainer. He was so big. So talk to me about just spending a day with Joe. What was it like going to work and you're working next to Joe Exotic all day?
Well, let me just tell you. First of all, when they did Tiger King, they toned Joe down on that show. Just to put that out there to give you a heads up. Um, he never had a dull moment. If he wasn't blowing something up, shooting something, firing somebody, or just raising total hell, it wasn't Joe. He wasn't feeling good or something. But, he was there for you if you needed him. He didn't want to be, but he would be there. Me and him have actually got so mad at the staff, we've sent them all home before, and we've done the whole park ourselves, cleaned and fed everything in the park. And, at that time we had over 200 big cats, let alone the bears and the crocodiles and all that stuff. So
Oh,
we could do it.
man, that is insane. I love it. I love it, man. Now, approximately when y'all were open and y'all were at y'all peak, how many animals do you think did y'all have total on the property at one time?
I bet we had probably close to 600 animals at one time. Probably a little more than that.
Jesus Christ, 600 animals.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Now, was it any animal that you wouldn't work with that you like, you know what? I'm gonna let Joe work with that. I'm probably not gonna go in there and fool with that one.
You know what? I learned to never trust a leopard, ever.
So you said you wouldn't fool with the leopards?
No, no. I'll pet anything out there, and I'll touch anything out there's balls, but I'm not touching a leopard.
I love it, man. I just appreciate you being here. Like I said, I know you're on the road, so I won't keep you too long. Now, I watched the documentary, and we seen, I believe, Shaq visit the zoo, which was awesome. But my question to you is, if y'all were still open, and you could have any celebrity visit there and hang out with you guys, who would you want to visit right now in this day and age? A celebrity.
Wow. Never really thought about it. Shaquille O'Neal was really, really cool. And we had Farm Truck and Asian from the Outlaws, the Street Outlaws. Man, I don't know. I've never really thought about it. I'd really like to meet old George Strait. I don't know if he's a celebrity or not, but
That'd be awesome. George Strait at the Tiger King Zoo.
Yeah.
All right, we have a question in the audience. Lafitte and ASMR said, have you ever had a snow leopard? Those are his favorite.
No, we had not. There's a lot of requirements for them. They got to be chilled. They got to stay cool. In most places, they have a chiller to get into where they can stay cool and stuff. We had some. We had some bobcats. We had some lynx. We had a lot of stuff, but we didn't have a rhino. We didn't have a giraffe. We didn't have a snow leopard. Those are pretty much really, really expensive animals. And to the most part, we took a lot of ours in because people didn't want them anymore.
Right,
And,
right, right,
people,
right.
people just don't want to give away a snow leopard.
Right, 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 right. I love it. I love it. Now, of course, I want to ask you I have a hot seat question, and I got to ask it. I think people would be mad if I didn't ask it. And I'm not trying to be rude or anything or disrespectful to anybody, but I got to give you a hot seat question. So my question to you is, if there was one thing right now, if Carol Baskin was watching, what's one thing you would tell her?
Yeah, a few explicitives probably. A lot of people don't know it, but she actually sued me also, just like she did Joe. She has released everybody from that lawsuit except for me. She kept me, I think it's called with prejudice, where she can bring me into the lawsuit at any time.
What?
She killed her husband. She knows she killed her husband, and she needs to fess up to it. It's what she needs to do. And she has literally cost me thousands and loss of sleep like you would not believe. And she's still doing it today, because all you reptile people need to start worrying about this Big Cat Safety Act that's going through, because they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop till they have every dog, cat, snake. I mean, it's crazy how she is getting this passed through the Senate and stuff.
I seen that. The Big Cat Act. That is insane. And shout out to USARC. We definitely need to support USARC and support the reptiles, but we also need to support the cat people, because we have rights. And if you're taking care of your animals, I believe it's your right to keep them.
You're
So.
right.
So
right.
I agree. I couldn't agree with you more. Down with Carol Baskin. Now we won't touch on that no more. That was a sore subject. Now I want to have a little fun. I watched the documentary. We all seen Joe was running for office, and I can't remember if it was governor. What was he running for? If you remember,
governor and president.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Joe Exotic was running for governor and president.
Yeah.
So give me your reaction, and let's talk about that. What was your reaction when you found out Joe was running for governor and president?
Well, first of all, he knew I didn't like it because it takes so much money to run for governor and to run for president. It takes a whole lot more to run for president, because you just can't get on a ballot. You have to pay to be on a ballot. That's how it works. And I didn't know that until he started doing all this, and I started seeing the money that I could have spent on the animals going towards the presidency and the governorship. So, but he had a studio, and I felt the same way about the studio too, because he spent $400,000 or $500,000 on equipment for that studio, and that's probably lowballing it, that I could have spent on nice compounds and stuff. So we kind of had differences about all that. So
I can understand that.
No, I knew he didn't have a chance. Gay, gun-toting, married to two men, and running a zoo in Oklahoma. Not going to get you into office.
And like you said too, having all these animals, you're funneling money from your zoo to your campaign, and it's like damn, you really want to feed your animals. I get it. I did remember he did start that podcast. How awesome was that he did that podcast? Are you just like, man, shut this podcast down?
Man, he did it every night. I mean, we didn't have a night off. And eventually, when they burned our studio down to try and shut him up, and he built a new studio, I quit doing them, just because it was upstairs and I didn't want to climb stairs to get to it. So.
All right, now I want to have a little fun. I want to give you a hot seat question.
Okay.
And I'm not being personal. I don't want you to tell me what you made. That's not what I'm asking this for. I want to have a little fun though. We all like that residual money. You get Netflix put out the show, and all of a sudden, bam, you got hit with your first Netflix check. I want to know what's the first thing you went and got yourself.
I'm still waiting on that check.
Netflix didn't pay you?
Not a dime.
You fucking lying.
Not a dime.
They probably made $1 billion. Oh, you need to sue Netflix.
At least. They don't pay for documentaries, because if they pay you for documentaries, you become an actor, and that becomes a movie.
You shut the fuck up. You're lying.
I'm not lying. I am not lying.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd sue.
Yeah.
Damn.
A lot of people out there believe that we just banked off that. I mean, if you go to Wikipedia, it says I'm worth $1.6 million, and I'm like 67 years old or something like that. And no, I didn't make nothing off Netflix. I'm not worth no 1.6 million, maybe $1.6, but it's old, and it's just, yeah, no.
What? But you know what? You still got a lot of notoriety from it because I bet you anywhere you go, they'd be like, "Oh shit, that's John."
It's got its perks. It does. And I have met, you would not believe the people that I have met that I would never have gotten to meet in my life. But yeah, it's been a blast. I'm not going to lie. The ride has been fun.
Right. Now, of course, I gotta ask, because I'm a reptile person. I want you to keep talking. I'm about that picture up for a second. But you've pet so many animals. You've pet tigers, you've petted lions. Talk to me about what's it like to walk into an enclosure with a tiger and actually pet it.
It is so fulfilling. I mean, if you're having the worst day ever, go out there and sit down and let your lion climb in your lap and crush you for about 30 minutes, man, and your whole day just gets that much better. It's an amazing thing, but that's probably what got dangerous towards the end because I didn't have no fear. I would just walk in any cage. We had a tiger that was choking on a rib bone once. He had it lodged in his mouth, and I couldn't sit there and just watch him choke to death. I wasn't going to do that. So I actually stuck my hand in his mouth and pulled that bone out, and he didn't bite me. I mean, he was almost thankful. So, there is, if you give them respect, they're going to give you some.
That is all. I'm jealous. Like this man is sitting next to a tiger and pet it. I'm jealous. Now we have an audience question. Fungus Queen, exotic pets and feedings. Amazing young lady. She said, John, what's your favorite reptile or amphibian, if you have one?
You know, um, when I got there, the only thing that we had that was venomous was rattlesnakes, and I had to take care of them because you couldn't trust the staff. So, I loved watching them guys. I loved watching them eat. I loved watching them act, react to it. And I loved them rattlesnakes. But, since then, I've gotten to see a few gaboon vipers, and I would have to say that's probably the baddest snake out there.
Right. Do you wish the zoo would have got some gaboon vipers?
I do, but I don't because I know how reckless Joe was. So,
Now that you say that too, how reckless he was. Shout out to Joe Exotic. We love him, free Joe Exotic. Knowing what you know now, watching everything unfold, is there anything you would do differently?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Um, a lot transpired when all this Jeff Lowe stuff come around and he come into the picture. Joe wanted to put the zoo in my name, but he couldn't because Carol was suing me, so it wouldn't do any good. So he ended up putting it in Jeff Lowe's name, and that's how it all transpired that way. Um, he killed a lot of animals. I mean, he let them starve to death, and I think that's just wrong. I think if I'd have changed anything, it would not have been in the picture.
Right. Insane. Just crazy, man. Now I gotta ask this, and it's, I watched the documentary. I watched that super nice young lady, and I hate that happened to her. She ended up getting her hand, her half of her arm, literally just ripped off by a tiger or a lion. So my question to you is kind of a double part question. We've seen how Joe reacted to it on camera. So my question is, how did he react to that off of camera? Secondly, you being an amputee yourself, did you kind of take her under your wing and be like, look, this is what you kind of can expect. It's not going to be too bad. Life still keeps going.
Yeah. Um, when something traumatic like that happened, every time something traumatic like that happened, I had went home for the weekend, and I no sooner get home and I get the traumatic phone call. So I have to come back and clean that mess up. Um, but Joe's reaction is pretty much spot on, man. Joe was all about the cameras 24/7, and it didn't matter if there was a infiltrator on the zoo or Saf getting a hand ripped off. That was Joe. He knew how to play the part, and he knew how to be the part. And as far as Saf, I went to see Saf that night at the hospital, and they reattached Saf's hand, and it could move a little bit, but not very much. And I said, look, I don't want you to use me as any deciding factor as to get rid of something. But I said, don't let them put you through 30 surgeries. And when staff made the decision to lose a hand because they said that it would take several more surgeries to make it right.
Right. Well, I love that you kind of gave her that knowledge. You're like, look, you know what? This is probably what you need to do. Life's still gonna keep going. You're still alive, so just keep going. I love that.
Yeah. You know, they see me every day. I just keep going. I get up, keep going. And I said, please don't. I mean, I'm kind of a one of a kind guy, man. I don't slow down for nothing. So
that's
please don't use that. Yeah,
Mr. John, that's inspirational.
Yeah.
I love that. Now I want to talk about something. You know, a lot of people, I don't know if they caught this in the documentary, but I caught it. And I want to say, is this true or not? Joe Exotic, before he had the zoo, he was the chief of police somewhere.
He was in Texas.
You shut up. No, he wasn't.
The Metroplex of Dallas, yeah.
Joe Exotic was the chief of police in Texas.
Yep, the youngest police in that. What was the name of that little town? Sanger. He was the youngest chief in their history. Yeah.
That is crazy. You work next to somebody that has had an insane life.
Yeah.
I love it. Now, with you being, you know, the manager of Joe Exotic Zoo, what do you think, like, you know, the biggest misconception about the zoo was? To where, you know, if somebody said it today, you could be like, no, bro, that's not true. That didn't happen.
Yeah. You know, they say there's a lot of animal abuse that goes on there, and we didn't have any animal abuse. If I caught somebody abusing one of my animals, I abused them, I promise you. I did not put up with it for 5 seconds. If one of my animals didn't get watered, somebody went home. There was no animal abuse there.
Okay, I love
that personally too, because I was responsible for all that.
Right, like don't bash us. You're saying we got animal abuse, and we really have an amazing zoo, and our animals are taken good care of.
Yeah.
I love it. Now, I gotta ask this, you know, because like I said, Netflix, this Tiger King was one of the biggest shows out there. So how many times do you think you recognize on a day-to-day basis, like, oh shit, that's John from Netflix?
If I go out of town and visit some strange town, I guarantee 5-10 times a day. And then once one figures it out, the whole town knows it. So
Right. Now, I've
been to Nashville a couple times now, and I'm a pretty big hit in Nashville now.
I love it. Now, you know, having working so close with Joe Exotic, you know, seeing the ins and the outs of the business, do you ever see yourself opening up any kind of facility? Do you ever have dreams of, even if it's a small, you know, facility with 1 or 2, 3, 4 animals? Do you ever see yourself opening something up?
I don't, mainly because the USDA wouldn't give me a license because they knew what was going on. I tried to get my license when I was at Joe's, just to have something to fall back on, and they just kept refusing to give me a license. After 4 years, well, I left. Eventually, I left, and they said, "Oh, we were coming to give you your license." No, you wasn't, or you'd have done it the 4 years before that. I said, so no, I probably wouldn't, just because everything has taken place now. If you've noticed, you know, Tim Stark's out of the picture. Kathy Stearns is out of the picture. Roger Enzine's out of the picture. Robert Egresser's out of the picture. They're going after Doc Antle now. Now they're going after Jason Clay. They're just taking it. If you have a cat, or if you have touched a cat, they're taking you down.
I seen that. I did see them go after Doc Antle, which I thought was crazy. Shout out to Missy Ann. How you doing? She said John is wearing my city right now.
Oh yeah.
Now I want to have a little fun because your lady's sitting next to you. I think that's your lady. Now when you were going to work with these animals, was she worried about you? Did she ever say, "Baby, you finna go work with these tigers? Be careful"?
No, she pretty much come along after the fact. I was married for 31 years.
Yeah.
And I stayed at the zoo so much it just ruined my marriage. But you know, she didn't care. You know, I was just gone all the time. Brandy come along now, and I know it's hard to believe, but I actually got her getting in with a full-grown lion now all the time. So
what?
She fell right into it.
I love him.
Yeah.
Now, since she's sitting right here, you know, since she's been with you and you're around animals, what's the best gift she ever got you, like animal related?
What's the best gift?
So far, my kangaroo.
Yeah.
Oh, you got him the kangaroo?
Yeah,
Oh, she's a
I got
keeper.
it. Yeah.
All right, well, I won't keep it too much long because I said we'll go about 30 minutes. I know you're on the road, but I got a couple more questions.
Uh,
What for you? What was the most memorable day at the zoo? That one day you'll never forget.
oh man, I just came back from surgery, and I went and got in with my lion, and I believe you can view this on YouTube. Um, Bone Digger just tackles me and just lays on me and won't let nobody in to get me. Won't get off. Just smothering me, and I keep telling him I'm all right. I'm all right. And eventually I can't breathe anymore. So Joe's got to get me out of there. So that was probably the most memorable one. Man, he was so happy I was back.
I love it. I love it. Now, my question to you is, God bless Joe. We want, hold on, give me 1 second. Iron Dog has a question. He said, have you ever worked with the people at Safari Sanctuary in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma?
I have. If I'm thinking about what they're not open to the public no more. If I'm thinking about it, is that Lori's place? What is it? Safaris.
I think Safari Sanctuary in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma.
Broken Arrow or Broken Bow.
You think you might have?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. Awesome. He said, yeah, that's the same place. Now, I gotta ask this. Now, give me your opinion. We love Joe Exotic, free Joe Exotic. God bless him. But my question to you is, Joe was so big. If he was free today, where do you think he could have took the zoo?
Oh, if Tiger King wouldn't come out, he wouldn't have been as big as he is. But since Tiger King come out, holy crap! When Tiger King come out, everybody was swarming the place to see the place. Even during the COVID. Um, I've always said I love him to death, but he's his biggest fan. I mean, he is his biggest fan. So it's pretty hard to say, but I do know that if we get him out, we're supposed to go to some island somewhere and live for a little while. So he'll be a rich man if he gets out.
God bless him. I hope he can get an appeal and get out because he's just such a good entertainer, man. It's just
September
awesome
29th, buddy. September 29th.
Oh, that's when he can appeal and all that?
We have a court date, the 29th, to see if it's all going to go through. So we're making headway.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
They want to look at the evidence. All the new evidence has come to light, all the perjury and all that stuff. They want to look at all that and see if it's case worthy.
That's awesome. I'm pulling for him.
Yeah, there's no way they can't.
That is awesome. Iron Dog said he helped out at Broken Bow Arrow Sanctuary too. And shout out to Mike's Monitors. Great guy. He said, what happened to Joe's leg?
Joe wears that brace because he was doing a show one day and one of the tigers was running across the stage and just took his knee out. And Joe's a showman, so one little sore, he's going to milk it for as long as he can. So now he's just acquired a limp, and he can't get rid of that limp. And it is. I've been through it. Believe me, it's hard to get rid of a limp.
Right now.
But it's image now.
Right. Shout out to Slimeball Exotics. He said free Joe. Yeah. Now I got it. You were around so many animals. I gotta ask, what's the best advice you can give for somebody wanting to follow in your footsteps and become a zookeeper, become a big cat keeper? What's the best advice you can give them?
Man, first of all, get as much education as you can. I learned everything I learned from my local vet up there. She taught me everything. We worked hand in hand every day. If I had a question, I just asked and she would answer. There is no college that could have taught me what I know about cats now, as far as medicines and all that stuff. And it's been great. And I'm very appreciative to her for that. Schools just don't teach you that on-hand excitement that you get from it. I mean, you have more passion when you're working on hand than you are with a book or a computer.
Right.
Education. Learn everything you can.
Excellent. Fungus Queen said her best advice is have more money than Carol Baskin.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Shout out to Tim, man. Shout out to Mike.
She made over $2 million just off cameos.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but everybody wants the evil and the bad, That's just the way life is.
That's crazy. Yeah. Now, before we get out of here now, for you've been around so many animals. You got an amazing collection right now. You got a freaking kangaroo. But is there any animal out there you don't have that you plan on getting pretty soon?
I'm fixing to get a cicada tortoise. I want a tortoise real bad. So.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. I'd really like to have a Galapagos, but I don't think that's going to happen. So I'll settle for the smaller one. I want a gibbon.
She said what?
She wants a gibbon.
She wants a gibbons?
Yeah, that's
awesome.
Cool monkey, but they're expensive. Holy cow.
Right. Now, before we got here, I got another hot seat question. We know the zoo is called the GW. But if you had you were the manager of the zoo, and if Joe said, you know what, John, I want you to name the zoo, what would you have named the zoo?
Rinks Exotics.
Rinks Exotics?
Rinks Exotics. My last name's Rinky, but everybody would call me Rink because they couldn't say my last name. So it just kind of stuck with me, even in the racing family. So everybody calls me Rink. So I would call it Rinks Exotics.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. I love it, man. That is awesome. You know what? I think that I don't care what you say. I'm going to let you go because, like I said, we're going to go 30 or 40 minutes. That way we can get a round 2 in down the road. I know you're on the road. You're in the car. Your life is insane. And I just want to say I appreciate you for giving me 40 minutes of your time.
No problem, man. Anytime.
And we're definitely going to get a round 2 in down the road. I appreciate you. Currently after, I want you to, before you get out of here, talk about life after the Tiger King. What are you doing right now?
I'm just work my ass off every day. I still love animals. I got a couple facilities I get to go to and just do whatever I want to do at their facilities. They trust me that much. And it's amazing. I get to mess with giraffes. I even got to play with a rhino's wiener. Not everybody can say they touched a rhino's wiener, but to me, if you could touch his wiener, he'll let you touch anywhere. And it's true. He'll sit on him and everything. So he's pretty cool. But anyways, I'm just enjoying life right now. And life's too short. This world is completely messed up right now. You just don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. So you got to do it today. Right.
Mike's monitor said Rinks 2.0.
There you go.
And everybody in the chat is just saying, thank you, John. They appreciate you. Before we get out of here, I like to have a little fun for my YouTube. I want to make a funny face for my thumbnail. So are you down?
Okay.
All right, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. I love it. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. You're in the car. You're headed home. I want to say drive safe. Be careful. Thank you so much, Mr. John.
All right. I appreciate your time, and thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. You have an awesome night.
All right, man.
How awesome was that? How freaking awesome. He still did it, and he's on his way home from a show. So shout out to John Winke. He is a star from the show Tiger King of Netflix. Awesome guy. We definitely going to get him in for a round 2. Shout out to everybody that showed up. I would like to have went a little longer, but I don't have no ill feelings and animosity towards him. He did that in the car. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to him. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much. Shout out to Iron Dog, Slimeball Exotics, My Animal House, DTG, Fungus Queen, Kara Shea, thank you so much. Live Feedings, Low Life, everybody that showed up, thank you so much. This was the podcast, super fun, talking to a star from the Tiger King. So we getting ready to get out of here, but much love to everybody, man. And before we get out of here, of course, I got to do what I always do. Make sure you go show Venomproof Cages some love. Definitely some good cages. Ozzy Boyd, some of the best snakes in the game. And of course, ship your reptiles. If you're making any animals, ship your reptiles is the place to go. They're going to help you get your animals to where they need to be. And you can just focus on making amazing animals. I'm Derek. This is Big Reptile Talk. Until next time, man, we out of here. You don't start things and not finish them. You don't quit. There's nothing that comes out of quitting besides knowing that you didn't finish. We finish everything. You start it, finish it. If you're going to do it to try to be the best. Not to be better than other people, but to be the best for you. You grind hard so you can play hard. The work you put in will pay off. It could be a year, it could be 30 years, but you keep grinding.